everyone. Welcome, Sideline Podcast, one episode 224. Tons, and I mean tons of NFL free agency news to recap. We started on day one, so we're going to recap Tuesday, Wednesday, and then some of the signings that happened today. Some pretty big ones. One big trade that we kind of already recapped might or might not have been rescinded. We'll talk about that. Plus, we'll sprinkle in a little bit of NBA, some college basketball as well. So with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. Back, everyone. Let's start in the NFL. Free agency day 2. Let me pull up Andy Danny CBS Sports here, but like I mentioned in the opener, there was let's just touch on it because it's probably the biggest news item that we have to talk about, even though it is a day 3 thing. Ravens, they traded for Max Crosby. We gave our grades, we gave our opinions. Turns out, I think someone got cold feet on this one, and they rescinded the trade. I don't think in the NBA, I've seen trades get rescinded. Famously, Mark Williams got traded to the Lakers from Charlotte, and they failed his physical, so the trade got rescinded. Hornets are pretty butthurt about that. I think the Raiders are pretty butthurt about the Ravens taking their 2 first-round picks back. Max Crosby stays a Raider for now, but I think he still might get moved, even though he just recommitted to the team last night via Twitter. But the Ravens instead pivot to Trey Hendrickson, which, hey, I get it if you can get it for a little bit cheaper, but kind of ruins the reputation. So I'll start with you, Lawrence. How do you feel about the Ravens rescinding the trade, failing Max Crosby on his physical, knowing that he was still recovering from his knee surgery, and ultimately signing Trey Hendrickson? How you feel?
I mean, the signing of Trey Hendrickson right after the fact really causes the problem. Because, okay, the doctor analysis part of it is you knew what you were going to find when you go look at his knee. So there was always that ability to have that cop-out option. And they used the cop-out option. But I don't know, I guess structurally the knee was never going to recover to its fullest ability, so why spend 2 firsts? Or maybe we got clowned a little bit for giving up 2 firsts, so then we came back and decided not to. And then, honestly, Trey Hendrickson to be so easily persuaded to go to, the immediate rival to sack Joe Burrow, even though I would say you were supposed to be boys, right? In practice, I'm not trying to kill you, buddy. I'm just trying to get better. I'm not trying to kill you or anything. Now I'm going to go try to kill you.
Yeah, a little suspicious. They did say that the Ravens did say the plan was to pair Max and Trey, but you can call bullshit on that. That was never in the cards. Jacob, thoughts on this situation here?
Yeah, I personally do think that was a possibility, and that's probably what they wanted to do. I think that would have changed the outlook on maybe some restructures, maybe some, guys that, they will sign in the future. I think they had money to do it. They would have had to squeeze and really figure out the Lamar situation with his upcoming cap. But even with the idea, if I believe that was the plan, still going back on the deal, afterwards, I mean, obviously they paid a huge price, 2 first-round picks. And I'm sure the Raiders fans are upset because they just had to deal with losing one of their guys, a pillar of their franchise, but we're also excited about the return, and then immediately have to go through all those kind of emotions and feelings. And I'm talking about the fans, let alone how Max Crosby and his family thought going, from Vegas to Baltimore. And it's a pretty difference in lifestyles. Obviously, the teams are in different stages too. So I think the Ravens are, doesn't look good. I'm sure it'll be something people forget about rather quickly, even though everyone thinks it's going to kill their reputation. It might for a couple weeks, and then something else will happen, and it'll get forgotten about. Yeah. I think my big takeaway here is what an offseason for the Raiders, because I know it doesn't necessarily sound like it on paper, but they essentially reacquired one of the best pass rushers in the game. Add in the fact they completely redid their linebacking core. They got help in the secondary. They got Linderbaum on the big contract for the center. Like they're gonna get Mendoza. Like I can see kind of being excited from a Raiders perspective. Like, yeah, you know what? Like I would have liked to have 2 first-round picks, but that would have been kind of more of a punt towards the future and hoping that everybody works. But like, hey, what if this
Yeah.
Mendoza kid's really good? What if we get some mid-round gems in the draft, and what if we can actually like win some ball games next year? So that must be exciting for them. I think that obviously is a whole weird situation. I don't remember a time or a situation like that ever happening, minus the Mark Williams situation and some NBA stuff. But we're talking about the NFL here, so definitely
Yeah.
a weird spot and definitely tarnishes the Ravens' reputation, which I'm all in favor for. I know you are too, Markel. So if their
Yeah.
reputation gets tarnished a little bit, that's cool with me. But I think all in all, like the Ravens get Hendrickson, so it's going to help their team. A little shady inside the division, but it's all business. So I'm excited for the Raiders mostly. Ravens, it makes sense what they did, but still kind of skeevy looking on the outside.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, I like the trade pickup. Pure pass rusher is what they need. If you're looking for a run stopping defensive end, that's not him. He's probably average at best, right? And that's being nice. It's my former Bengal player, but hey, I love Trey. He did well here, so I'm not going to bash him too much. It's just business, like you said, Jacob. We'll see. What the Ravens and Raiders do. Apparently, the Raiders are going to honor the contracts they gave out, so I guess they're going to have to do some cap gymnastics to kind of make this work if they're not going to ship off Max. We'll see. We'll see on that one. Back to day 2, though. Tyreek Woolen going to the Eagles for 1 year up to $15 million. I completely forgot that he was a free agent. So I feel like it's a great pickup for the Eagles. They kind of need some secondary help. So great pickup for them. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think getting a guy of his caliber, especially on a 1-year deal at a respectable price. You're adding in him to Mitchell and Cooper DeJean in that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So on paper, they got a lot of big names in there. I had heard that he was looking for a big payday, especially coming off the Super Bowl win, and he didn't really have that big of a market. So he kind of waited and settled with that 1-year deal with the Eagles. But I think this is a great opportunity for him to kind of be on more of a national stage team like Philadelphia is, ball out for a year, and then next year, once he hits open free agency again, he'll probably be able to sign that 3 or 4 long-term deal that he was probably looking for this year. But in terms of the fit, I'm not a big Eagles guy, but that's a damn good player on a already pretty decent defense.
Lawrence, thoughts here?
For the Eagles, I think it shows now the shift that they're going to have to start making for their team. Because they're going to pay the big guy big money, down middle, and they lost Jalen Phillips. That was a good pass rush. If my pass rush is going to falter a little bit, that means my corners are going to be out there, covering for longer periods of the time. What's going to be one point of attack? Oh well, Blankenship was on this defense forever. Any space that he would cover, we're just going to nip that one in the butt right now. I'm not going to say Woolen is better than any corner they had before, but he's of great value. He played really good part on that Seahawks team, and it kind of mitigates the fact that you just lost Blankenship. I know he was a safety, but he still had a ball hawking ability. This is a Super Bowl winning corner who did play a good part and is no bum. So I think it's like an evolution point. Like, you can always rebuild your team the same way to constantly be in the dance. But sometimes you just kind of have to evolve over time with what you have. And I kind of think they did really good with this because, like I said, he couldn't find any suitors. Well, he found one of the best teams in the league to suit him.
Couldn't agree more. Romeo Doubs to the Patriots. 4 years, $68 million. They let go of Diggs. They got to get someone to step into that, pseudo number 1 role, but it's really a number 2 role there because they don't really have a true number 1 guy. So I think it's a good pickup. I agree with this B+ grade. I think Drake May can find some good chemistry with Romeo Doubs. He's a solid receiver. Lawrence, back to you. How you feel about this pickup?
Honestly, I think it's really smart. One of the best bets there was in football last year was Romeo Doubs touchdowns. Because he was just like a valuable weapon to just find periodically in the red zone. Uh, his numbers, I mean, half the time he was leading that oversaturated room of number two Packer wide receivers. Um, and he was getting the most catches in most games. I wouldn't say all, or I wouldn't even say most, in at least half. He's getting the most catches, so that shows you're a little bit above the eight ball than the other number twos in the room, and there was a lot of number twos. Um, but no, I think Dobbs is. I think he's earned his ability to go get like a new contract to be used as more of a, I would say like a power guy. Like, all right, go give me a quick 7 yard, 8 yard slant, and then in 3 plays we're gonna go over the top with you, and they're not gonna think anything of it because in most games we just like to slant route you, and he's really, really just good at that.
Jacob, thoughts on Dobbs to the Patriots?
I mean, I feel like at this point, me hating on the Patriots is basically expected. So I think B plus is fair because he's a good receiver and he's going to a good team. But I know a lot of people that are really high on Jordan Love and a lot of people are high on Drake May. And Lawrence made a comment that I'm so glad he did because I'm going to refer to it as he was stuck in that group of number twos in Green Bay. So why was he stuck in that group if he's going to be a number one in New England? He's been a number two. He's a good number two, but like giving him a pretty decent contract, and I'm sure he's probably going to fill that same role as Steph Diggs. But this is also a guy that's been banged up. I don't know. I think that it was a good bet. You knew they were going to get a receiver after Diggs. They had a little bit of money. I don't think the contract's outrageous by any means. I just think that he's a fine player, and he's probably going to fit in to that culture. But expecting him to, go for 1,200 yards or 1,100, even 1,000. I mean, his career high was this year. He had 720 yards. It's like that's fine. It's good. It's number two numbers. But we'll see. They gave him big money, and he'll probably lead the league in touchdowns just because I'm saying this right now. But it was a good signing. Makes sense. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Leo Chanel. I hope I'm saying his name right. Goes to the Commanders. This was a linebacker I thought the Bengals would target 3 years, $24 million. Not too shabby. I'm not too familiar with his game, but I think it's a good signing for the Commanders. This offensive guard, Tucker to the Jets, formerly the Patriots. Caden Ellis, another linebacker that I thought Bengals should target, did not go there.
Yeah,
goes to the Saints.
That was that very good Falcons linebacker that, for whatever reason, just really knows how to keep his nose in like every single play. It's kind of a pain in the ass just to keep it in the division.
Nashawn Wright to the Jets, 1 year, $5.5 million. Good signing for the Jets there. Cowboys signed PJ Locke. Who did he play for last?
Arizona.
Who he play for?
Arizona. Okay. Cool stuff there. Benjamin St. Juice to the Packers. This is a good signing here. The Packers need secondary help. And
you think St. Juice is a good help? I mean, I think B plus is a very nice way to put St. Juice into a sentence of being signed. I don't think he's anything more than a C.
I think in terms of like corners, I feel like he's like in that average to like slightly above average range. Jacob, I don't know your thoughts on St. Juice, but he's definitely not a scrub,
He was horrible in Washington, and they hated him so much. If you actually look, when he got released last year, because he went to the Chargers this past year, when he got released from Washington, the comments were insane. There was like 10K like comments of just Commander fans just like slandering this dude. So on that little CBS article, it does say that he bounced back big time. Chargers had a really good defense. It looks like he didn't play like too big of a role, but he did start 16 to 17 games. So I'm kind of with Lawrence in the sense of like I do remember him being trash with Washington, but it sounds like he went to a better system with better coaching and well, I don't even say better. Dan Quinn can coach the defense, but it didn't work out in Washington for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he had a better year in LA. But also look at the contract: 2 years, $10 million. It's like that's a pretty cheap deal. So I think you're probably getting an okay guy. Probably trying to bounce back. Third team in 3 years, so that might say something too. But I mean, like you also said, the Packers desperately needed help, and this is a team that went and signed Trayvon Diggs at the end of last season just to get anybody in their QB room. So it feels a need, and it's a body. So we'll see if he can get back to any sort of sustained success in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll have to see on that. He definitely was definitely was not a fan in Washington. So we'll see. Browns pick up an offensive lineman. Pacheco, this is a big, I guess you could say big signing for them. Mainly their replacement for Montgomery. How do you feel about this one? We kind of talked about this offline. I think it's okay, but, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I felt like, why not just draft somebody, Why go get Pacheco? That's my initial thoughts. Lawrence?
I mean, I'm also in the same boat of why go get Pacheco. He's got years of just hitting the middle of the hole really hard, and constantly every season he's got at least 4 or 5 weeks sitting on the bench because he can't play because he's injured. So, like you said, I can just draft a guy, and even if he does get hurt, he's still going to play because he doesn't want to not play because he's a rookie, versus this old vet who probably won't give me important action when it comes time to the end of the season. Because personally, I believe that there probably are still going to draft somebody, and it'll probably work out better.
Yeah, Jacob, thoughts?
I think other than yes, he definitely is a player that gets hurt, and he probably gets hurt based on the style of play in which he plays. I think the funny thing that we're all missing here is like his style of football being like the hard nosed run up the middle. A, that's so Dan Campbell, that's so Detroit culture, and B, Gibbs is the bounce it to the outside speedster, do it all back. So he, in my eyes, replaces David Montgomery really well just in terms of his style. Granted, Montgomery kind of redefined his career at a later stage. So I'm not saying he's exactly like that, but I think that in terms of the style that they had Montgomery play with the whole Sonic and Gibbs thing, like it definitely makes a ton of sense. I like it for them. Pacheco was a first round pick, I'm pretty sure, late first round pick, and never worked out in Kansas City, but they never really had a good offensive line, a good run blocking offensive line. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see it. If it works out, cool. If it doesn't work out, then just add them to the list. Running backs that didn't work out.
Yeah, you definitely made a good point there. Offensive line play is definitely better in Detroit. They're going to run the ball. I mean, that's just their MO. So they revamping the offensive line. They've revamped their backup running back behind Gibbs. We'll see if it works out for them. That's pretty much all the day 2 signs, at least CBS is listing here. So we'll move on to day 3. We already went over Trey. Probably the other big signing of the day, Daniel Jones goes from the transition tag to a 2-year deal worth up to $100 million. There was talks that they might actually look towards Kyler, but of course Kyler, we'll talk about this in a little bit, just signed with the Vikings as of maybe an hour ago. So Colts, I guess they found that guy, Daniel Jones, giving him another second team to give him a big contract. How are we feeling about this signing? Let's start with Jacob.
I like it. I mean, it's a lot of money. I think there's some incentives to it, but in terms of where it feels like Daniel Jones should be valued, it's pretty decent compared to how he played this year. Also, the Colts were kind of in a rough situation where they finally got a guy that fit their system and was playing really well, and he had to go and break his leg and tear his Achilles in like a 2-week span. So tough to be a Colts fan, but at the same time, I think they're happy. I think they wouldn't want it any other way, and I hope he's able to come back healthy because, I mean, the Colts were the number 1 offense halfway through the year, and Daniel Jones was one of the biggest storylines. So I'm excited for him, excited for the Colts fans. I just hope he can get back to being healthy and keep throwing deep balls to Alec Pierce.
Lawrence, how you feeling about Daniel Jones being back officially with the Colts?
One thing it raises the flag for is how their offense will evolve, because one strategy will be is, okay, Daniel Jones is probably going to be a little bit more pocket happy because he probably doesn't want to scramble as often based on previous injury. That's just probably like how one way a team's going to attack him right off the beginning of the gate during the season. And then now we need to see how the Colts are going to restructure that wide receiver group in order to maybe a lot for him to be able to have that free will in mind to just sit in the pocket and not have to scramble to survive. Because they got the line to keep him upright. Well, have in the past years, but still should to keep him upright.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if he's going to be there to start the season. I think that's still a mystery. So we will see, like Jacob said, how they're going to restructure this wide receiver room and give him some support there. Nick Cross to the Commanders. This was a good signing. Nick Cross, one of the better safeties in free agency. This was actually the backup guy. If Bengals didn't get Cook, I wanted them to go get Nick Cross. So this is a great signing for the Commanders. Hey, they need secondary help. Damn, they need help all over. So a safety that's good in the pass game and they can come down and make those tackles in the run game. I feel like big help for them. What are we thinking, Jacob?
Definitely needed it. I know the Colts had a decent secondary. I'm not super familiar with Nick Cross, but like you said, definitely fits the position in need. So I think the money was pretty decent too. Probably a good signing.
Lawrence, any thoughts here?
I mean, great signing. Honestly, the Washington's going to come out of this free agency. I would just say trying to. I wouldn't say trying to push for everything, but their name should be attached to a lot of big things that can plug the holes on their ship. Because I really think that they can hit the ground running next year with McDaniels. And Daniels, and really attack. I would say a weaker NFC East at the moment. Like you're really, really, really thinking about it. The really big competition is the Eagles. Cowboys haven't done anything. Giants, we're probably going to need like a prep year. All this new like movement. Off the rip, they can't be great. So you got 1 year. This could be our year. Our good rookie. He's a little banged up last year. We can just hit the ground running. I still believe they need to figure out a little bit more like the running back situation / what that is. I thought the McKinsey, what was his name for the Washington running back? We had the two names.
Jerry McKinnon,
Crosby Merritt.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, he's an all-star, great player, but I feel like they didn't even use him half the time, and they went to Chris Rodriguez. And mind you, like, I don't hate it. Chris Rodriguez, Washington, he's been there forever, but you kind of want to see the development of this rookie, maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. They made plenty of moves this offseason. I think they're setting themselves up pretty well. They signed another tight end, especially when Zach Ertz. Didn't Zach Ertz tear something too? So, they made a good signing there.
Gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I think this guy played for the Titans, right? Okonwu?
Yeah, he was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it's a good signing for them. They need a tight end. The money, I'm a little hesitant on the money. I feel like, probably should spend the money elsewhere, but hey, I'm not the GM. Hawkins to the Ravens, good safety. They need secondary help. They need some guys to help Kyle Hamilton, so good signing there. Kevin Bard to the Patriots, another good safety signing. Seems like safeties are on the move this offseason. There's a lot of teams signing safeties, right? And we get back to your Bills, Jacob. Bradley Chubb, 3 years, up to $43.5 million, former Miami Dolphins, so staying in the division. How are you feeling about this signing?
I think this was probably, I don't want to say the best, but I think this was really, really well considering they didn't get Crosby, they didn't get Hendrickson. Like, you missed out on the tier 1, pass rushers. I think this was probably the best, or one of the best options you could have gone in that next tier down. Like, Bradley Chubb's, when he's healthy, and he did miss a season to an ACL, like, he can get to the quarterback. He's a closer. I'm pretty sure he had 8.5 sacks last year, and he had 11.5 sacks the year before, and 3 years ago, because he missed that year with the ACL. So just need to keep him healthy, and I think most importantly for the Bills fans, his interview since he signed, he's pumped. He's pumped. He basically was saying that he saw it when he was in Miami, and he knew that this was a good team and a good culture and a good fan base. And the second he was a free agent, we were one of the teams he wanted to go to. So that's something that fire up all the Bills fans. And God damn it, it's like every year it's Joey Bosa or Von Miller. It's like all these like stopgap pass rushers, and I just want a guy that can close and get to Lamar and get to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs when it matters. So I like it. That says C. Money's okay. I mean, it's like 15 million, a little less than 15 million. Like, I don't think the money's all that bad considering that you got dudes, that you rarely heard of signing for 25 million a year, like the Commanders signed. So I think the money's okay. It's a lot of guaranteed money, but I'm pretty happy about this signing.
Yeah, no, I was a big fan of the signing too. Like you said, enough of the stopgap guys. Like, just get a guy that can come in there and play for a couple of years and bring some consistency. So I'm a fan of it. Lawrence, are you a fan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm honestly a fan of pretty much everything the Bills have done so far in the offseason. Mainly with the DJ Moore pick. I think it's just like, I don't know. I feel like this year is like a different wave of vets being added. I would say in the previous, like with the Von Miller one, it's like you're getting a little bit of expired milk Von Davis, or sorry, not Von Davis, Von Miller. You're not getting I would say a little bit fresher squeeze of Bradley Chubb, because Bradley Chubb's only, 11 seasons?
Mm-hmm.
He was in the same draft as Josh Allen.
No, so not even that far.
Next up, we got Hargrave to the Packers. This was a guy I wanted to go to the Bengals, but they signed his other defensive tackle, former Viking teammate, that got dropped as well. How do we feel about this one? Packers, after, letting Kenny Clark go to Dallas in that trade, definitely stand to get some more defensive line help. Jacob?
Yeah, good signing. Same thing with the Bills. I thought he'd be a good partner with Ed Oliver up front. Good player. And that money's decent, too. That's only, 12 and a half a year, 11 and a half a year. That's good. That's a good contract.
That's a good contract. Lawrence, thoughts here?
Yeah, good contract. It's just fun to see. Well, not funny to see, but the Packers always, every single season, you always raise the flag of like, there's nothing to do in Green Bay. There's so much limitations to it, and yet season after season they always get, I would say, above average talent, going to make probably a real difference for a constantly consistent team.
Hey, you're right. Packers just keep fielding some good quality teams. I wonder why that is. That's pretty much the end of day 3. And then we have some signings today. Switching over to ESPN, we got some releases. Ravens let go of Cooper Rush. Sorry, buddy, but Snoop Huntley played better than you. Browns let go of an offensive tackle. Ravens revamping the O-line, of course. Chargers signing Keaton Mitchell. Didn't see this one coming, but Chargers are one of those teams where it's running back by committee. I know they got Hampton from the UNC rookie from last year. I feel like it's a nice, backup. Hampton did get hurt at the beginning of last season, so I feel like he's a good backup. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I agree. He's a good backup. He'll probably get. Unfortunately, the Chargers also have a problem with getting their running backs injured a lot. So this Mitchell cat might actually end up playing a lot more, but he's good. He's a good little guy. I like Hampton a lot, but hopefully he can stay healthy.
Lawrence?
I mean, yeah. Who's the other one right behind Hampton? Isn't it the other one that always gets hurt? Old Ravens running back.
Oh, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
he's always hurt.
I think he went elsewhere. I think he might have went to the Broncos.
Yeah, he went back. He re-signed with the Broncos.
One of your offensive tackles, Lawrence, retired. Don't know if you know much about him, but
nah, he wasn't very good.
Browns, of course, we already knew about this, but they officially released Njoku and their right guard.
Yeah, he's coming to Carolina.
Well, there's a bidding war between, once again, the Bengals and Carolina on another player. We forgot to discuss Devin Lloyd, Lawrence. He it was a bidding war between Bengals and Carolina. He chose Carolina. How do you feel about Devin Lloyd being your starting linebacker?
How do I feel about it? Amazing, because like Roseboom, all he likes to do is tackle. Now you got Devin Lloyd to be more of the passing side of things and tackle. Roseboom can easily get back down in the box. Latham as a young safety really liked getting down in the box. You could probably hybrid roll him a little bit. I think the way that they play defense, the 3-4, it allows more versatility amongst it, even though I'm not a big fan of the 3-4. It is what it is. It's how they want to roll with it. The team that they finally have built is good for it. And honestly, if you're Devin Lloyd, I'd probably rather have J.C. Horn as my corner too.
All right, well, good signing, good money too. I think it was only 15 APY, so not too shabby there. Back to Cincy, they gave Orlando Brown Jr. an extension, so he signed through 2028. Orlando has been on the decline, but he's still an average starting left tackle, which is hard to find. So I'd rather just lock him in. You know what you have, right? And then see if you can find a replacement in the second and third round. I'm definitely solidifies that the Bengals won't take a tackle in the first round, which who knows what their plans were going to be, but I think this definitely solidifies that. Jets re-signed their backup guard, center Newman. Some Giants, Falcons signings. What did I want to see? Muhammad is going to resign or sign with the Bucks. He last played for the Lions, right? So Bucks getting some more pass rush there after they lost a couple of guys. So good for them. Greenlaw released by the Broncos, only to be picked up by the 49ers. So I think it was a good pickup for the 49ers. How are we thinking about Greenlaw going to the 49ers?
Looks like he never left, to be honest.
Seriously, yeah, it feels like it.
Bengals added Jonathan Allen. I think it's a good pickup. I'm not going to say it's amazing. Hey, he's on the wrong side at 30. Still a productive starter. I feel like him and BJ Hill can be a nice little 2-1 punch with Allen being the pass rush guy and Hill being the run stopper. So I think they'll complement each other well. Rotate TJ Slayton, who's a above average run stopping defensive tackle. I feel like the Bengals finally have I would say average to above average if everything goes right defensive line. So that's something to clap about, I feel like, as a fan. You guys got thoughts?
Something to look out for if it's true.
I'm excited to see you guys look better in the first 4 games this season, because all I want to do is see the Bengals not come out the gate slow.
You and me both. Commanders, they signed a running back here, Rashad White, to a 1-year deal. Last played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think, was it White hurt for most of last year? Or was that Bucky Irvin? I know one of them was hurt.
Bucky.
White was,
Bucky
yeah.
was. I think they were both hurt, but Bucky was hurt at the very beginning, and then White was doing all the running, and then by the time Bucky was coming back, White got injured. And well, to be honest, White's not really of any use or value once Bucky comes back, because they have a guy right behind White who can do the same thing as White. So there is no change of pace in their running game when Bucky's not there.
Yeah, I thought that too. And some dude named Sean Tucker ran for like 250 yards against the Bills. Their third string running back.
Yeah, he's pretty much just like for White, but faster, because White's lost it over the years, getting hit so many times.
Good veteran running back to the Commanders' backfield. Still could take Love, but I feel like they're leaning more towards Carnell Tate. We'll see what happens in the draft, though. Believe that is it as far as big signings for today. And of course, probably the last one, Kyler Murray going to the Vikings. Do we actually think Kyler Murray is going to beat out J.J. McCarthy for the starting spot? Like, is this a realistic expectation?
Unless he doesn't look good, but like if they look equal to each other, I think they're just going to take the fact that on paper Kyler Murray will distribute the ball way more sophisticatedly.
The fact that the Rams reached out and were like, "Yo, you can come like back up Stafford, and like potentially like we can groom you for the future," and he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go start." Like the Vikings, he knows he can win that job. I'm not the biggest JJ McCarthy believer. I like the kid, but I don't think he's very good at playing quarterback, especially with what I've seen in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or nine, sorry. Uh, so yeah, I think Kyler probably wins that job. It might be one of those Daniel Jones to the Colts situations where you're like, I mean, him versus Richardson, like I don't know who's gonna win. I don't really care. And then you're just like, oh shit, like Daniel Jones with the Colts is kind of nice. So I mean, I don't think Kyler Murray is gonna lead the Vikings to a Super Bowl next year, but I also think that playing with Justin Jefferson and Addison and
Yeah.
Hawkinson and Aaron Jones came back, like they have a good nucleus, and Kevin O'Connell can dice up an offense. I'm pretty sure the astronaut dude came into Minnesota a couple years ago, Josh Dobbs, and just like lit a team up on like 2 days' notice. So I trust Kevin O'Connell, and I mean I would start Kyler, but it's also one of those situations where if he starts and struggles, you can easily kind of go back to McCarthy and see if you still believe in him. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. This will be an interesting situation to monitor going forward. CJ Gardner-Johnson signs the Bills. Jacob, how you feel about? I guess he's going to start, right? He's going to
Fits a
start
need.
outside corner.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the opposite safety to Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop had a pretty good year this year. He kind of broke onto the scene, made some big plays, big moments. 6 million's it's okay. I mean, I think he's fallen off from a couple years ago, but also he's a veteran. He's been around the league. We're losing a lot of guys on defense, or at least guys that we haven't signed back with yet. So I like it. We're also changing styles. We got a new defense coordinator. He's going to kind of do his own thing. So every one of these guys that we get, I'm seeing like, oh, they fit the new system, and I'm like, okay, sure. Like we'll see. Like everyone says he'll fit. Like I don't know, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I mean, if people know the name, so hopefully he'll be able to mesh in with the boys and get it done. But more than anything, it's like I saw we signed somebody, and I was like, oh, safety bet needed that, and I saw all the safeties were going off the board. So looks like we probably got like the third level tier of safeties, but that's all right. We got no money anyways.
And that's it so far. Day 4. We've gone through most of the signings. Boys, how are we feeling about our teams thus far? We're a couple days in free agency. Personally, the Bengals, I feel like still at that B plus territory. They really need a linebacker. Probably need another edge too. So if they go get Joey Bosa or somebody, I would feel better. But how are you feeling? Panthers, Lawrence, how are you feeling about your team so far?
I'd probably give the Panthers an A. I feel really great about it. They needed a pass rush. They got arguably one of the best pass rushes there was to get.
Yep.
They needed a linebacker. They probably got the best linebacker, if not one of the best you could get.
Mm-hmm.
They needed a wide receiver to, I would say, see what more this offense could do. They went out today and got Mechie, which
Yep.
was Bryce Young's core wide receiver, is probably one of his main go-tos when he won his Heisman. So honestly, really proud of that one, because I get it. Xavier Get was only his second year last year, but we ain't got time for all the bullshit right now. Jalen Coker looks better than you, and he was undrafted. So if we go out there and get the Mechie, and he comes in and plays better than you, you're gone. Trade his ass.
Well, I like you feel confident about your free agency so far. I would agree. A is what I would grade the Panthers. Jacob, how would you grade the Bills? How you feeling so far after 4 days?
I think in that B to B plus range, because you got to take in mind that we did lose a lot of guys, did give up a second round pick, so that's hurts the draft sort of idea there. But at the same time, I like that we've been intentional, and I like that we've been very specific with guys that fit kind of where we are right now, and most specifically, obviously, the positions of need. Like wide receiver was a big one. got that done. Needed to get a pass rusher, got that done. Needed to get some help in the secondary, been able to get that done. So overall, I like what they've done. It's just I'm kind of one of those, like, I won't know how good CJ is with the Bills until like 4 games into the season, where I can kind of get a firm grasp on it. But I do like how they've done. With the little money that they have, I like it. But I will say I agree. The Panthers have crushed this offseason. I really like what the Panthers are doing. And honestly, I like what the Bengals are doing too. Because like you said, if they actually built up a good defensive line, then we know they're going to score points if Burrow stays healthy. So I kind of like what both of your teams are doing.
Yeah, we got a couple more weeks until the draft. We got some of the university pro days going on as we speak. I think Clemson's pro day was today, so Peter Woods is out there. Could be a possible target for Bengals. So we'll see. There's a lot more offseason to go. Next up, a little bit of NBA. If you haven't heard it already, you know your boy Bam putting up 83 against. You hate to see it, but the hometown Wiz, they got smoked. They got smoked. It wasn't even close, guys. Bam, 83 points. Who would have thought, man? It wasn't on my bingo card. Would have never been on my bingo card that Bam would be able to score 83 points in a single game. We kind of talked about this before the show started, but hey, shout out to Bam. He got a bag, as in bag of tricks, and he was shooting that thing. I ain't gonna lie, he had 31 in the first quarter, 43 by the end of the first half. I think he had like 60 by the end of the third. So, let the haters hate. Bam deserves it, man. It's not even the record. He has the second most points. I don't know why people are like being so hateful and stuff like that. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, I agree. That's wicked impressive. It's ironically funny that it was against the Wizards. I kind of felt like it seemed like the Wizards just like wanted to be a part of something special. All the free throws, but also like you gotta hand it to them, because that's so rare to happen, because either coaches are taking guys out or guys are, they fall off when they're on pace. So shout out to Bam. Like, he was on pace, like you said, from the first quarter to the first half. Like, he had always kind of just maintained a potentially record-breaking pace. And it's ironic because it's Bam Adebayo, with all due respect to him. Like, it wouldn't have been, you could have listed 30 guys before. If I told you someone was getting 80, like, Bam probably wouldn't have been the first name, but that kind of makes it even funnier. It's like, you know what, cool. That's a cool story. Shout out to Bam. Shout out to a little bit of NBA history. First one I've ever seen. First one ever recorded. Most amount of points ever recorded on television.
Yeah, pre-Wilt Chamberlain. Lawrence, thoughts on Bam?
Oh, the whole free throw thing, who cares whether or not how many free throws he got? He still had to shoot the shot. And there's been plenty of people in the league who come through who can't hit free throws. But the name of the thing is a free throw. It's free. You shouldn't have given it to him, but by all means, the Wizards just could not stop the man. I didn't watch any of it. I only watched the highlights of it, which, obviously the highlights aren't showing you all his free throws. But regardless of him making so many free throws, his plays within the game itself were pretty awesome. Complete domination. He had his way.
Yeah, Bam was cooking. Hey, I'm not gonna take anything away from him. He was one hell of a performance. Now, unfortunately, to some college basketball. Mason had a good performance. We didn't get to it, but they had a good performance last Saturday, beating 25th ranked St. Louis. A10 tournament starts, or I think it started yesterday, right? They played. Who did they play today? St. Bonnie. Played St. Bonnie, guys, and lost. Unfortunately, in A10 tournament. I think their season's done. I don't think they're gonna get an NIT invite. How are we feeling about the game, and how are we feeling about Mason going forward? Jacob, I know you think Skin is gone after this season, but what are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's pretty depressing. The game today was depressing. They looked good in the first half, and then they just completely fell apart. Like we were talking about before we went on. Like, today's game was so symbolic of how the entire season was, and it was just very fitting to lose and to be eliminated in the fashion that they were today. So, I would like it if Skin came back. I just have a weird feeling that this is a perfect opportunity to kind of get out and keep everybody like no feelings will be hurt. If he leaves, it's like, you know what, he had some good years with us. Like, good luck in the future. But if he does stay, then they definitely have a lot of holes to fix and basically have to rebuild the entire foundation again. So, not very optimistic as I sit here today on the brink of elimination.
Lawrence, what are your thoughts on, losing today and looking forward? What do you think?
Well, the loss today is really unfortunate. It's a real big killer. I would have said that if they could have won maybe 1 or 2 games, there would be a chance for an NIT bid. And honestly, I still think there might be a chance because one of the guys who gives out bids for the NIT this year is Ryan Hammer on Instagram, but he gives out bids this year for that. He's been pretty high on the A10. He talks highly of the A10, so he might see their value and have recently beating St. Louis and have beat VCU. And he's also pretty opposed to a lot of these big schools making the big tournament because they don't really deserve to, mainly because all these bubble teams have not been playing very well in the slightest. And a lot of these big teams, if they don't make the NCAA tournament, they're not going to care to play in the NIT. So there's still that little bit of hope, but never as anything high. They might be like they're going to be one of the filler teams in the tournament. Going forward, I don't think Skin leaves. I don't think he's going anywhere soon. I think he's got at least 2 more years with that contract, and I think he's going to honor it just because it's one team that took him to his Final Four, unless something absolutely absurd comes along, which we would easily tell him to go take it. But I would like to see them in the NIT because that's how they got Alan Spotch. They sniped him last year off the Stanford squad when they played them in the NIT. I'd love to give Skin another chance to go see another NIT game and snipe another player off a team.
Yeah, I definitely. I think Skin's back for at least 1 more year. I think with the way the contract's set up, it would have to be a gigantic offer, and I don't know. I mean, hey, some team might be willing to pay him a lot and the school a lot of money to get him out that contract, but I think it's maybe a next year thing. I do want to say one thing though. I've kind of said this to you guys offline a couple times, but he has to get better with this recruiting. I mean, he's a great recruiter, but like I said earlier, we can't have 3 guys do the same thing. All right, and 3 guys that do the same thing that all play significant minutes. It doesn't make sense. All right, we can't have 3 Tabo Cephalosas or Andre Robersons. We can't have that. I get you gotta recruit the best guys out there on the portal, and guys just coming in through high school. But one thing Mason has always lacked is shooting. Like, when are we gonna start getting shooters on the team? We got the defensive guys. Coach Skin has pretty much proven he can teach guys how to play defense. You can't teach shooting. Either you can shoot or you can't. So I think that's one thing they have to pivot to is stop getting these guys who are defensive slashers. Like, let's get some shooters in here. It doesn't make sense that only your point guard can shoot and your 2 bigs. That's how they find themselves in holes a lot of the time, is when they're not shooting threes well. And they're like the bottom of the A10 and threes attempted. I'm pretty sure they're near the bottom at 3-point percentage too. It's just, it kills them, right? Like, they just have to be able to shoot the 3-ball better. They don't have to be, the best team in the league, but can they be average? I feel like that'll help them out a lot next season. Thoughts on that?
Well said. I think you nailed it. I mean, I can't remember a time that I've been following that team that they've been like really, really good shooters from the outside. Like a couple of them. We've had, a guy here or there that, can bang them. But yeah, like a team that can consistently shoot. I mean, this day and age, you really, really need that to be successful in college hoops. And like you said, if he could kind of alter it, like he's a great defensive coach, and they hustle and they play hard. Mm-hmm. And that's all really, really good. But like you said, like if you don't have anybody that can shoot, then that's going to be a problem at some point.
Lawrence?
I mean, I agree. They have all the guys that do the same thing. And like last year we had Newton who could shoot threes. But like this year, we didn't have anyone that could shoot 3. When you were saying that we were one of the worst in the A10, I remember looking at it. We were ranked in the 300s in 3-pointers. So we are nationally one of the worst 3-point shooting teams. And legitimately looking at this year's team, I don't think anyone shot well from the 3-point line outside of Mincy. They said for all the time they kept saying Troutman was good. You said it first, but we're still calling bullshit on Troutman being all that.
Yeah, I said it after a couple games in. I said, I don't like this kid. I don't think he's good. I don't know why he's starting, but hey, I'm not the coach, so I'm not going to say too much on that. But yeah, some things to work on for next year. Anything else before we head out? I don't really have anything else.
Team USA got lucky in baseball. They lost to Italy, but Italy bounced back and beat Mexico, and USA will advance. Championship game is until Tuesday, so when we talk on Monday, we'll see if they're in the final. They got to play Canada again, so if they beat Canada, they'll most likely play the Dominican Republic, and if they win those 2 games, then we'll talk about it on Monday.
Think it's a good chance they make it to at least the semis.
They should. I mean, they should win both of these next games. They should get at least to the championship game. But again, this is a team that just lost, so I'm interested to see how they bounce back tomorrow night.
Lawrence, you got anything?
No, nothing. I guess one thing will be interesting is to see who all these conference tournament winners are, because there are some teams making some noises that can eliminate some bubble spots.
Yeah, true that. We're getting ready to talk about some March Madness. I feel like we'll get more into that next week, but yeah, interesting to see who's on the bubble and who's not. But yeah. That's the end of this episode, guys. Thank you guys for watching episode 224, Sideline Podcast. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Me wind and rain, you're some kind of